Hello and welcome back to the NIL Edge, the show where the people shaping NIL talk about how they're doing it, what's working, and how they're looking to improve NIL for student athletes. If you're inside an athletic department, a brand, an athlete, or the parent of a student athlete, this is the space for you. Each episode, we talk to NIL directors, brand leaders, and other innovators who are pushing the NIL conversation forward. Our goal is to share success stories, equip you with ideas, and create a trusted space for NIL strategy and education. The show is produced in partnership with NIL Newsstand and Digital Sport by Hot Paper Lantern. My name is Sterling Randall, and I'm your host. I come from the world of strategic communications, and before then, I worked in athletic departments as an SID. So I've seen firsthand how critical communications, compliance, and brand building play a role in today's NIL era. Now I work with brands and organizations at the intersection of sports and strategy. I help them navigate change, protect their reputation, and connect athletes to fans and businesses in meaningful ways. Really excited for today's episode. We're joined by Jack Adler of Out2Win. Without further ado, let's do it. Really excited to talk to today's guest, Jack Adler, who's the founder and CEO of Out2Win, a fast-rising force in athlete-driven media and brand strategy. Jack has built a reputation for helping athletes and brands tell their authentic stories, while also creating meaningful commercial opportunities and helping them navigate the NIL space with clarity and creativity. Throughout Out2Win, he's helping shape the next era of athlete-brand partnerships. Jack, thank you so much for joining us, and how the heck are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here. I'm doing well. I know that this will come out later, but we got Thanksgiving in a couple of days, so how can you not be, in a good mood? But no, really excited to be here and excited for this conversation.
No, you're right. How can you not be thankful and grateful for this wonderful time of year? First, and I know we've talked about it a little bit before, just can you give our listeners and our viewers just a brief background into you, how you got into this, how you started Out2Win, and how you got into working in the NIL space?
Yeah, no, without a doubt. You want the quick version or the extended version?
Whatever. We can take this podcast as long as you want it, man.
Cool. Yeah, well, it all started in 2021 in July NIL legislation was passed, and in August Out2Win launched. So it's been over 4 years since we initially launched as a company. Very, very different from what we look like today, but pretty much at a high level, we were helping athletes facilitate brand deals when NIL first came to be. And that was thanks to my experience prior to NIL legislation passing, where I had the chance to work with an athlete marketing agency and learn what it looked like for deals to come together in the pro space. And what I realized is NIL was that same thing, but now in, more of college athletes could take part in it. So quickly we began helping athletes facilitate deals at a local level around Syracuse, where I was a junior in college at the time. And then over the course of a couple of years, so fast forward, so I don't give you too long of a version, we were helping brands like Reebok, Nerf, and Oakley build out their first NIL campaigns. And what we were realizing while helping these brands partner with athletes was it wasn't just about how many touchdowns an athlete could throw or how many goals they could score when it came to moving the needle, as a marketing investment. It came down to how they could engage with their audience on social, how they could drive action from those audiences. And that's what brands were really looking for, but they struggled to actually access the data they needed to find the right athletes to involve in these campaigns. And that's in 2023 where we made a pivot, seeing this pain point in the market, to start building technology, to start building a database of athletes that allowed brands to actually analyze and stack them up by marketability strength. And that all has evolved into what we're building today with Out2Win.
And so I want to dive deeper just into that last part of you're at this inflection point. What was it? Was it, hey, we have all this data, we want to be able to do something with it? Or like what was the catalyst moment that then pushed you guys to go, head first into this?
Yeah, it was constantly talking to brands and hearing the same question asked. It was like, how do I know that this athlete's going to be the right fit to drive, that's going to fit with my brand and drive return on investment? And we didn't have the answers to it because we'd use other platforms in the space. We'd started building our own little data collection internally, and we realized, like, what if we could provide this to our brand partners? Not only would it allow us to help the few brands that we're working with today, but it would also allow us to scale ourselves to work hypothetically to an infinite amount of brands across the entire space. And at the time, we knew we were so early in the space and anticipated that it would only continue growing. Luckily, today we see that anticipation was correct. And I still think we're just at the surface level. But a lot of, the last couple of years of NIL, we've seen more of an appetite for data. It's no longer just kind of taking shots in the dark. Brands want to know where they're investing their dollars and where they can expect them, to turn out.
Okay, so that leads to my next question. So when brands want to make sure they're getting the best bang for their buck with their investment, with their marketing plans, right, including athletes and NIL into their marketing plans, what metrics or indicators do you feel like brands should focus on to help evaluate NIL partners and NIL in their marketing plan to really reach their full potential?
Yeah. I mean, the easy answer is, like, the cop-out answer is it depends on what the brand's goals are. But generally speaking, what we consistently recommend is starting with pilot partnerships, because I can talk to a bunch of different metrics that you can look at, but nothing's going to really, I guess, like, tell you what an outcome will look like. Many of our brand partners actually begin by casting a wide net and engaging athletes who align with their general criteria. So, like, whether that's audience location, age, range, sport, or content style, from there they can analyze that first layer of the campaign and see who performs the best. And then that's the best data to guide their next move. Once results start coming in, brands can identify which athletes resonate with their audience, or at least which athletes' audience resonates with the product. And then that can be measured through, like, the engagement rate, the click-through rate of that actual first layer of content. And then it can lead into a deeper, longer-term partnership from there. Because, like, to your question, no static metric can fully predict how an athlete's audience will respond to product placement. So the most powerful indicator is going to be real-world performance. It's going to be like, how did that audience actually react when the product shows up in their content? If they reacted positively, let's double down on it. Let's do it more. And that's where we've seen brands find success is kind of like through a testing experimentation phase and then doubling down on what works from there.
Okay, so then and I guess this question is a little subjective, right? So then how do these brands help differentiate between, not help, but how do these brands differentiate between a good NIL activation and a great NIL activation? And then how do you guys help one go from a good activation to a great activation?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that a good activation, like, the way that at least, like, I think this might be more subjective, is based on if the product can organically fit into the athlete's lifestyle and voice to the point where it doesn't feel like an ad. It feels like organic content that their audience actually wants to watch and engage with. I think a lot of times that will show in the results. So you'll be able to see it in a more objective fashion. But for me, as just someone who's been in the space, like, when I see something that comes off as more organic, it oftentimes to me is what I like to categorize as a great activation. When it's authentic, natural, and just, like, aligns with content the athlete's already making, the message they're already communicating. But that usually means then giving them creative freedom to lean into what's already performing on their channels and, like, allowing them to weave the brand messaging into that as opposed to giving them a rigid script and saying, hey, go make us this, when the content naturally just won't feel true to the creator. So I'd say, like, that's what I consider a great activation, when you're able to authentically align your brand with content that the athlete's already making.
And then to go back, and I know I asked like 2 questions in one question, how specifically then does Out2Win help people and brands, and even on the other side too, make sure that it is a great NIL activation?
Yeah. On the brand side, our data intelligence platform, it helps just cut through the noise of the NIL landscape. I mean, you have hundreds of thousands of athletes across every sport and every school. to the point where it's nearly impossible to evaluate them effectively at scale or find the right fit. So like we solve that at Out2Win by aggregating athletes with public social media profiles into one full database, and then applying our proprietary marketability algorithm, the Out2Win score. So you can actually like rank and benchmark athletes against one another to see who the right fit will be for a campaign, who's going to help move the needle within a marketing campaign. So now brands are able to make smarter, faster, more confident partnership decisions that are actually backed by data and not just taking shots in the dark. And it's been really cool just to almost like even look at it in retrospect. Like, wow, if I had this platform while I was building those campaigns and trying to answer those questions that, Nerf and Oakley and similar brands were asking us back in 2022, it would completely have changed our lives. And that's, I think, been a cool part about growing, because now I guess when you flip it, like how are we helping universities and agencies who are pretty much acting as like universities are almost acting as talent agencies.
Yeah.
Right. At least in the persona style that we're working with them, we help them drive more deals because we're providing them with the data to properly pitch their athletes and find the right partners at the right time. So like first through our actual ecosystem of brands, because we have brands that are using the platform, partnering with universities and talent agencies through it, but then also just through like different insights that we're providing them that actually help you understand who's spending budget at a brand, at what time are they activating, and does my athlete fit their ideal profile of a partner. So that's, I guess, like where the ecosystem comes together between what's kind of like the demand side of universities and talent agencies who represent talent, and the brand side who are looking to build athlete campaigns.
What are some common mistakes that you see talent agencies and brands do as they try to either dip into NIL for the first time, or as they try to just enhance their NIL offerings?
Yeah. I'd say on the brand side, it's like chasing follower count is one that I see a lot of times. It's just like working with the athlete that has, that's the most famous, it's the most popular, but oftentimes isn't the right fit. And I said it before, like what's a great campaign? It's when there's natural organic alignment, and that's not always what you find by whoever has the most follower count. But then I also think a lot of brands end up in one-off activations. And I know I used one-off activations as an example as a good way to start. Yeah. But the ones who really win approach it like a marketing channel, not just like getting an athlete to hold up a thumbs up with their product in hand, but like actually test and learn and scale these partnerships over time. Yeah. Obviously that's like where Out2Win comes in to help is we help brands we provide them with campaign playbooks that help them actually go from like, hey, I want to try NIL to, all right, here's like a scalable way that we can go build strategic partnerships and campaigns.
Yeah. Is there a success story of a client of yours that you wouldn't mind sharing with us, of someone that went from like product, thumbs up, hashtag ad on Twitter or whatever, to something that was like truly authentic, that then either launched the brand or the student athlete just to a higher plane of recognition?
Yeah. I mean, I'll give a couple examples like on how we've been used for higher profile partnerships. Like Olipop partnered with Travis Hunter, Roback with Cade Klubnik and many others. That said, the real engine for our success has been when brands partner with micro athletes at scale. Like that is where we've really seen ourselves be able to help brands build cultural relevance and credibility online. My favorite example, and I don't know, I have a lot of favorite examples, but the one that I'll point to is Accelerator Active Energy. Okay. They've been a partner of ours literally since the beginning, since we launched this in May of 2024, this being the data intelligence platform. And they've now built an athlete ambassador program of over 300 athletes.
Oh, wow.
Out2Win. And they mapped out where their product is located physically in stores, because they're mostly selling through retail. And then they identified nearby campuses, and then they're sourcing athletes at those schools based on, one, who has the strongest Out2Win score, and two, who has the highest percentage of their audience located on that campus, which you can just see within an athlete profile. So that's a specific example of like, that's representative of a lot of different use cases where brands can pretty much just go find the right fit based on whatever they're searching for, whether that's like an age, gender, location, demographic. And that's why our platform's been so powerful for being able to cast a wide net in an ambassador program like that.
Yeah. And I know I mentioned this to you right before we started recording, but what is it about those, you know, not that they're ambassador-based brands, but they're brands that do tend to lend themselves to being more ambassador-based? Why have they been able to, you know, have so much success using your product? Is it because then they're able to zero in on that community and then partner with that micro influencer to really, you know, hit a home run?
I think it's like part of it is that they're a certain type of product that so naturally integrates not only into like the life of an athlete, but also just like into video content. Like a lot of these examples like just fit really like you can ship them out product and they can go use it in content.
Yeah.
Where of course, like I've seen Facebook is rolling out an NIL campaign right now around their like a new group setting that they have. But so it's not limited to those types of brands. But to your point, like those communities, consumer brand products, they fit so organically in with, you know, like in the lifestyle of an athlete. And they're like those brands right now are in an arms race on social media to see who can build the strongest brand presence, credibility, cultural relevance. And when you look at college campuses, when you look at Gen Z, like the people who have the most credibility and the people who drive the most culture are college athletes. So I think that's why we're seeing such an influx of attention and interest in the space. And I really do feel bullish that it's just starting. And yeah, that's why I'm excited about the space that we're in.
Now, I know we've touched on points a little bit, and there are other, you know, technology offerings and other social media analytic tools that offer similar things to what Out2Win does. But what's like the true differentiating factor with Out2Win that really makes you guys stick out amongst your competitors?
Yeah, I mean, it really is just like our ability to drive deal flow. Like the network we've built, I'd say is our moat. It's an ecosystem of brands, agencies, and universities who can all benefit from each other in the ecosystem. I feel like the more that we continue building upon that, which is just kind of coming with time, the more of a value we have to offer to each side of the ecosystem. Like above and beyond it also, I'd say, is our team. Like one of our biggest competitive advantages really is just like the hustle and like the understanding of the market that our team has from being in it now for the last 4 years. We didn't enter the space kind of with, you know, the money eyes around NIL, seeing that it was an opportunity. We were in the trenches for years, acting as the customers that we're now servicing as an agency. And that's allowed us to just like very authentically understand their standpoint and be able to service them in ways that aren't just, you know, it's fully understanding the inside and out, the end to end of their day in the life, and then properly servicing them to help solve the pain points that we know exist. I think our biggest competitive advantage is our team because of that, just that like the understanding that we've gained over the last several years.
I want to go back to something that you said earlier about universities kind of almost acting themselves like talent agencies, right? They have this whole roster of, you know, sometimes 300 plus that 300 plus could be influencers, right?
Yeah.
What's some advice that you have for them, either the university as a whole or student athletes, to help make themselves more attractive brand partners?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to become more and more essential for universities just as they are, I don't know, like really just trying to evolve their NIL program. And I think right now there's natural misalignment between brands and universities. The reality is a lot of schools are almost trying to replace collective dollars with brand dollars, but those are fundamentally different types of money. Collective funding obviously is like fueled by passion and loyalty. And then you have your brand dollars that are, it's a marketing investment, and marketers expect some form of measurable return. Unless a school happens to hit the lottery with, an alumni who's the CMO or brand decision maker at one of these companies, like if you're going to bring in money above the cap, it's going to come from you pretty much operating as that brand's commercial partner. Which, my advice to schools in that would be like focus on professionalizing the process. And that includes streamlining deal logistics, like being a partner to the brand to help them go find the right athletes, activate with them when it comes to the content, having a reporting mechanism to be able to show them where their dollars went and how there was a positive ROI. I think the institutions that will pull away in this space are going to be the ones that have actual infrastructure in place that just make it easy to work for them. And brands will likely start building, recurring budgets within schools that they're seeing success in. And that's going to be like where schools gain their competitive advantage from an above the cap standpoint. Of course, knowing the space, like there will be loopholes and creative workarounds that will be found. Like we're already seeing that, but I think the real winners will be the universities who figure out how to properly position their athletes as true marketing assets, and that it's going to come with time. But I know we already have a lot of schools that are building out that type of infrastructure.
What do you think is, and this might sound like a really vague question, what do you think is next for universities when it comes to all of NIL? I know that's a really vague question, but do you see them focusing more on rev gen, or do you think they are going to focus more and through your guys' experience, focus more on doubling down with brands as part of their rev gen strategy?
Well, at least as it stands today, and when this comes out in February, this could be totally different, and that's just kind of the way we've had to live in this NIL space. But there's the NIL Go system that caps how much an athlete can earn within their fair market valuation, and there's a rev share cap, which caps how much they can earn within a school's revenue sharing budget. So in order to drive dollars above the cap, so in order for these SEC, Big Ten, ACC schools to differentiate themselves, it's going to be getting athletes paid in fair market value deals, which means that in order to differentiate, it's going to come from brand deals. So as long as that's the case, it's universities are going to have to focus on the piece that I just shared on professionalizing their processes, almost as if they're an influencer marketing agency. Or I guess a better analogy for this, era is kind of like, they already are partnered with, a Learfield, a Playfly, an MMR partner. It's pretty much building out that MMR process, but instead directly for their athletes and for NIL deals.
Sticking on the trends topic, what in the next year, 2 years, what trends do you see shaping NIL, and how are you guys at Out2Win preparing yourself to help amplify those trends?
Yeah, I think the trend that I always get asked about, just the sustainability of NIL, like when a new regulations passed, I'll have friends or family or supporters that are like, how does this impact you? Like, is the business all good? And the reality is the business that we operate in Out2Win is this athlete influencer ecosystem. And the more that this space has evolved, the more I've realized it. And I guess it's here to stay. The athlete influencer space is going nowhere. And over the next couple of years, I think it will only become more structured and more repeatable. One of the biggest trends I'm seeing in it is these brands that are launching like annual NIL classes.
Yeah.
I saw Nike just launched one
Mhm.
last week. There's always a Beats, a Celsius. All these brands are, and we're seeing it continue to increase. Like more and more brands are jumping on the wagon. But yeah, Out2Win is actively positioning itself at the center of this shift beyond NIL, but really just in the creator economy of sports,
Mhm.
where we're helping brands design and execute these types of campaigns, and we're also empowering universities and agencies to position themselves in a way that aligns with the brand's priorities, speaks their language so that they can be a part of those campaigns and drive more deals. But the trend that I'm most excited about, I use that phrase in my spiel right there, but it's the creator economy of sports.
Uh-huh.
That's what NIL has sparked, I think, a revolution within, and I only see it continuing to transcend from where it's currently at today.
You just shared something that I bet it's like a text from a relative. They're like, "Oh my gosh, Jack, like, is this legislation going to take your business down?"
Yeah.
When people hear what you're doing, and I have experience working in the sports betting industry, and sometimes when I tell people that, they're like, "Oh my gosh, sports betting is ruining sports." I say that to ask, when people hear that you're in the NIL space, do they turn into Grandpa Simpson and they're like, old man yells at cloud? Are they like, "Oh my gosh, you're the reason that college athletics is going down the toilet"?
No, I think there's a lot of excitement around this space. I know that there is always, people with negative sentiment around it, but NIL has become such a buzzword in this era. And
Yeah.
as a startup founder, like that's a big positive. You wanna because everyone's trying to throw AI into anywhere
Yeah.
they can, like when they're describing their company. It's almost like NIL is a version of that too. Just being able to say that you're involved in NIL. Like, it's truly become a buzzword in marketing departments at brands, which
Yeah.
is a great benefit for us, because if you're not currently involved in NIL, you need to find a way to get involved. But like to answer your question, I think that it's honestly more like excitement than it is worry when it comes to discussing what we're doing. Just because, yeah, the timeliness, it truly couldn't be better to be involved in the space we're in.
How do you see? Obviously, we're big fans of NIL here at this show. Obviously,
Yeah.
how do you see your guys' product expanding and growing beyond NIL?
Yeah. I mean, it'll happen naturally, I guess, just because the athletes that are within our system, they graduate, but they continue creating content within
Mhm.
sports. Uh, our platform, it currently involves college athletes, but it also involves professional and high school athletes as well.
Mhm.
So brands, that are using our platform are not just building NIL campaigns. Uh, like it's almost like NIL is this like umbrella term that kind of can be used to describe like high school partnerships, college partnerships, and then even pro partnerships at this point as well. But as we continue evolving, brands will be building campaigns that aren't just college athlete partnerships, but athlete influencer campaigns that go beyond, just NIL. So that's like the natural evolution. And then, beyond just athletes, they're creators across all different categories within NIL currently. Once they graduate, like, there will be an Alabama cheerleader who goes off into becoming a fashion and beauty creator. There's a Florida Gulf Coast basketball creator who's more of just a lifestyle influencer. There's
Yeah.
definitely ways that we can see ourselves expanding into the general creator economy beyond just where we currently stand within, as I refer to it, the creator economy of sports.
Um, Shift into a little different topic here. When you are talking with brands, and let's say it's a brand that has not included NIL as part of their marketing plan, what's the one piece of advice that you give to those brands that are looking to jump into the NIL world?
Yeah, I mean, if they're asking me, I'll say it's that you should buy a license of Out2Win. But no, I'm kidding. I think it is to build your strategy just around data and not instinct. Of course, there's some Out2Win tied into that, but like the true message that I have tried to convey, just, even like to brands that are friends of mine, and like there's no sales pitch involved. It's the idea that NIL is evolving so fast, and if you're trying to stay on top of it through guesswork, through like taking shots in the dark, it's just not sustainable. So like the brands that are doing the best job in the space are the ones that are getting ahead and using data to drive their decisions. I think that's kind of a theme across all aspects of business today. Like you drive your decision making based off of data and not, intuition. And that is, I just think that's where the opportunity is in NIL. It's truly using data to ground your strategy.
I really like that, the data over intuition. I think we're going to start selling T-shirts that have the data greater than intuition. What's next for Out2Win? I know you talked about the eventual expansion of the company. Are there any features, partnerships that you can tease for us?
Yeah. So yeah, unfortunately, we have a really exciting partnership that's will hopefully be out by the time of this video is released, actually, that I can't discuss yet. But we recently onboarded the leading global sports brand in the world to the platform, and they're going to begin partnering with college athletes in 2026. And for obvious reasons, I'm extremely excited to see that come to life. And I think that, with that said, there are new opportunities that have, been coming month over month. So it's been unbelievable to see how everything's transcended over the last year for both Out2Win, but also just the NIL space in general, like how fast things evolve. So we're just really excited, to see what 2026 brings, because we know where we were at exactly a year ago compared to where we are today. So to think like what it'll look like a year from now is just extremely exciting. So yeah, at this point, our mindset is just month over month, keep building, keep growing, and new opportunities, are just continuing, hopefully, to keep coming our way.
Okay, so last two questions here. These are the last. We ask these questions to everyone. What's your favorite NIL deal that either you've been a part of or that you've seen out there in the wild?
Yeah. Back in 2022, I have to throw it back to this, because this was like where we really started at Out2Win. We facilitated a campaign for Oakley, which it was like the theme behind it was that their glasses don't fall off no matter what you do, no matter what you're doing. And they pretty much gave us creative freedom, like to go out and build content with different athletes. One of those athletes was LaQuint Allen, who's now on the Jaguars, but was a Syracuse running back at the time, who we filmed content of him sprinting down the field with his glasses on and showing that they don't fall off. We had track and field players doing flips, and we had a whole video series of just athletes doing crazy things with these glasses on, showing that they don't fall off. That will probably be my favorite NIL campaign forever. Like, I don't know how anything can beat that, especially just it being at such an early point in the company. Fast forward to present time, I'd say that my favorite active NIL campaign is Roback's NIL program. Like they're legitimately transforming their brand right now through NIL, and I think it's coming from one, associating with superstars. Like they have Lenore Sellers, Cade Klubnik, I mentioned earlier, but one, they execute on the content so well. Like I don't know if you've seen the content that's come out of some of these Roback partnerships, but it's not just any content. Like they have an insane production team that puts together just like highly engaging content. But two, they also amplify those partnerships through micro athletes on all these campuses that they have licensing at through this Roback U program. So like they're just absolutely killing it. They've also been a partner of ours since near the beginning. So shout out Shaylin and Will there, because I'm honestly I'm blown away by how the Roback brand has grown, even just since we've started working with them, by simply getting them their brand out there through these athlete deals. But yeah, I'd say that is certainly one of my favorites to date.
Okay, last question. And like I said, this is the one that we ask for everybody. What is so let's say you and I were headed up to Syracuse to watch a basketball game, watch a football game. I've never been there before. Where's your go-to spot that you're taking me?
Yeah. I would say it's an easy answer for me, actually. Varsity Pizza. It's like the go-to spot on campus there. After a football game, the band like goes back over to this restaurant, and I mean, if they win, they hang the flag upside down. If they lose, they don't go back to the restaurant. But there's a burger melt there, which is like a grilled cheese burger. It's like
I'm interested.
Grilled cheese bun. It's unbelievable, and that was always the go-to spot back at Cuse.
I love it. That melt sounds fantastic.
Yeah, it's unreal.
Jack, I appreciate you taking the time to speak with us, and again, thank you so much for talking with us.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. This was fun.
Thanks again to Jack for joining us and telling us about his work with Out2Win. If you'd like to connect with me, Sterling Randall, please feel free to do so on LinkedIn. We'd also really appreciate you guys rating and reviewing the podcast on Spotify and Apple. You can find more episodes as well on Vimeo. You can also find out more on nilnewsstand.com. You can also find out more about Digital Sport by Hot Paper Lantern at hpldigitalsport.com. And you can check out us and NIL Newsstand more on LinkedIn. Hope everyone has a fantastic day, and we'll see you again next time.